Hello there guys, my name is Jay or DA and welcome back to another episode of the Space Engineers Spotlights, where today we're looking at troop deployment on a planetary scale. So how do you deploy your troops around a planet, and what sort of crafts would be good for that? Now, I've found this craft that is relatively new to the workshop. It is by PeterHammerman and it is the PZL-4426 Griffin 4. Now, what is this? This is, as I have just mentioned, it is a troop transport and deployment vessel that has a lot of nifty features, completely 100% vanilla, and it looks really cool and a little bit different from other crafts that you normally see on Space Engineers, because everything tends to be quite wide. Now this is actually quite long and there isn't really a wing base. The one thing that really gets me with this craft is you've got this big tail section that is trying to make some sort of big statement, and it's just there and in your face, and it's really cool, and you could sort of grasp how this ship would sort of get its control when flying around a planet and whatever else. So this is using the development update with all the new remodeled blocks, in which I say it looks absolutely fabulous and it is pretty damn gorgeous as a ship, but with the additional details of all these sort of vents and stuff on the atmospheric thrusters and whatnot, it looks 20 times better. And I actually like the colour scheme he's got. He's got like a yellow framework running throughout the ship for like the critical support points, and then you've actually got like whites and blacks and stuff merged in there as well. And when we go inside, you'll actually see a little bit of red as well. So this craft as a whole is as I say, quite big, so it needs two people to pilot it essentially. What you've got is you've got the main pilot who would sit at the top, and he's got lots of control here, and what we're going to do is we're going to shut off some of that control. So what we actually have down here is we have door controls, because there are two doors in the rear, the left hand and the right hand doors, and they have safety locks for flying and making it stable. You can turn the handbrakes on and off because of course there are wheels on the back, so you can roll it forwards a little bit and whatever with the small wheels, which is kind of a nice feature, I'll be honest. It is nice to be utilising wheels on a flying craft, which is again pretty cool. We have reloadable rocket launchers. We also have we have three Gatling turrets. We have the one that's on top as well as the two that are just running, and those I would imagine you wouldn't really take control of unless the gunner seat has control of them, which I'm guessing it does. We also have Gatling guns, which are on the front, and then we have the engines. So this does allow us to turn the engines on and off separately from everything else, which I think is quite a nice little feature. It just means you can you know, have it in like a stagnant mode, so rather than wasting all that energy keeping the thrusters going, you can turn them off while it's sort of parked, and then you can turn it back on again when you need to fly and you need that additional power. So that's quite nice. What we're going to do now is we'll jump into the gunner seat and see what control the gunner has. Now this isn't a main cockpit, so you cannot fly from it. So if you are trying to fly from the front seat, be wary of that, change the settings. We have the Gatling control left and we have the Gatling control right, so we can control these. Notice the left and the right are on the appropriate buttons, so they're the furthest left and the furthest right away, which is very helpful, especially when you need to know where things are. So you need to know where the right hand gun is, you know instantly, you go to the very end, so you hit 9 and you control that. We then also have the centre turret, which is sort of slap bang in the middle. We can turn all the weapons on and off, so we do have that controllability from here, which is cool. So again, you can save on power if you don't need the turrets. We then have, again, reloadable rocket launcher control as well as the Gatling guns. So if you don't have a gunner, you can still control a large amount of the ship's artillery, which is really nice. Now, also, please note, there are some points within this craft that allow you to refuel, which are indicated by these nice arrows. And he's actually tucked away gyroscopes quite nicely and neatly behind these thrusters, which, again, I like. I like that use. We've even got the glass. Is that glass? What are those? What is that grating? I want to know what that is, because I want to use that. Let's go grind. What are these? Okay, so these are text panels that is used to grind down to give it that sort of frame look, to give it like it's holding on, and it's holding on via that sort of metal strap, which is nice again. We have plenty of batteries in this thing, so we can sort of run it without needing reactors. So you could probably fly for quite some distance without needing reactor power, which is good. So you can charge them up. If you do, say, run out of uranium, you can go for a little bit to land, and then you can perhaps refuel. We then also have some more LCD panels which are just blocking off the ports, which is again a nice use of the ports. I have noticed one thing with Space Engineers: the hitbox for the turrets is a little bit weird, and it is actually it doesn't allow you to walk through them. You can't pass through the top level of the blocks, which is a little bit annoying because it just sort of takes away from it a little bit. Then moving on to the back, we have the door, which doesn't have any external access unless I'm mistaken. Nope, so you can only really control it from the inside of the cockpits as well as from the inside of the actual bay, which is I think quite nice, because you don't want enemies opening the doors for you. You want to be able to lock yourself in, and if this thing does crash and the pod happens to be the thing that survives and you've still got power to open the doors, you can keep them closed so the enemies can't shoot you, or they provide an extra layer of protection, which is quite cool. So moving on to sort of my favourite part of this craft, you've got this rear section which has these very nicely tucked away thrusters, which I think looks pretty cool. And then we've also got the rear thrust here, which there's just this massive battery of thrusts that can keep you up in the air, which is nice. This is sort of making sure that with the back end being heavy, because you'd have people and cargo, you can, you know, it's providing lift for the back end, which is probably the heavier part of the craft. And then we have just again this wing section, which tucks away some of the other crucial bits, like the oxygen generator, as well as an air vent to sort of suck in any additional oxygen you need, and that just routes around the craft, which runs all the way through here. We have an ore detector there. We have some more odds and sods here, another ground down air vent, which looks quite nice. And what are these blocks? Sorry, because things have changed in their look, I'm sort of quizzing what everything is, because oh, they're the lights. So the lights are actually sticking through and giving that sort of effect. That's neat. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's jump inside the cockpit and we'll open up the door. Well, the doors for the back. So what we have to do is we have to turn off the rotors, so they actually become a bit flimsy now. And then if we hit 1 and 9, the doors open, and because of the way the boxes work and everything and the cameras, it knocked me out of the way, but you could tell what it's done. It's quite clear to see, and it's quite cool. I really like this. I really do, because you can just hop, skip and a jump on, and then you've got this quite large space, and you've also got a screen here which could be used for say mission briefings and things. And then we also have some buttons within here that allow us to close. We have the interior lights that we can turn on, so if we did want a bright light rather than the sort of the flight lights, you can turn them on and off, which is nice. And then we have buttons for the doors on the left hand and the right hand side. Now the ship does actually lift up with the doors opening and closing. You'll notice that when I open this one, it pushes on the floor, which I don't think is too much of a bad thing. It's not putting too much pressure on the rotors, which is good, and it kind of takes a little bit of the weight of the craft, which is kind of cool, and it makes sure you're pressed firmly to the floor rather than being flimsy and flopping around and you have to sort of fudge yourself onto this craft. I don't think you can walk on, but it is still a jump. But I really do dig the way that he's designed the door and everything, and it just looks really nice with all these like slots in and stuff. And yeah, it's really cool. So I think without further ado, we must have to just get flying this, because let's face it, it looks cool, and you guys want to see me fly it. So let's close the doors. We will lock the rotors, and we shall take off. Now it is a little bit slow to take off, a little bit slow to pick up. Then it is quite heavy. So does it fall? Oh no, the inertia dampeners were turned off. That's why. So it is a little bit of a heavy craft. I think it's got just enough lift to keep it up, which I'm seeing a lot more crafts doing this now, that they're getting away with just enough rather than overkilling, because why overkill? if you design something that, you know, if you design it right, you can put just enough thrust on here to make sure that it works, which I think again is a nice thing to do, because I'm actually in the midst of building something myself, which is actually looking really damn cool, and it only just gets off on planets. So it is a little bit of an iffy subject, but again, if you design it with just enough, then why overkill? Why strap too many on? Because you'll find you'll use too much power, and the ship becomes unstable with its reactors, and you'd have to compensate with putting more reactors on. So that's sort of, you know, a nice sort of in between. But I still think it maybe moves a little bit slow, but for the ship of its kind, it's not meant to be that fast, and I think it's kind of true to the ship it is, which is nice. We've also got these really cool sort of blinky lights that, well, yeah, you got blinky lights on the back and blinky lights on the bottom, which is quite cool. I like that a lot. So, guns. The guns are kind of nice and neatly tucked away. We have 4 Gatling cannons, which are just tucked away nicely, sort of beside and below the cockpits, which is cool. There's not too much spread on them, and in fact, I will just move our way down to the floor. We'll slow down a little bit if this thing wants to slow down anytime soon. And yeah, there's not that bad of a spread on them. You know, it's decent enough. I'm just picking up speed now because we're facing downward. If we face upward, we will come to a halt-ish, he says. There we go. Okay. So we then also have the rocket launchers, which I'm not really sure where they're tucked away. Actually, where are they? Let's fire them. Ooh, okay. Has he done the? Ah, okay. Smart. He's actually used them as a pass-through to the turrets. So he's tucked them away behind these Gatling guns and sort of, again, made it so that they will always get ammunition by having a pass-through and making sure that turret also gets ammunition. That's quite neat. I like that. That condenses everything a lot, which is cool, and I love the way rockets look. Look at them. So yeah, I mean, it's a very nice ship, very sturdy. There's a lot of features on here that are good because they anticipate space engineers breaking every so often, which is nice, like the rotor lock and everything else. And yeah, again, just enough lift to get off. So if you guys are trying to lift off with maybe just the rear thrusters, you need to sort of take off and land with the appropriate thrusters. So you'd need to, you know, to take off, you need to use the vertical thrusters rather than trying to use the rear and tilting it back, because I don't think it would get up off the floor. But yeah, so next thing to do, I guess, is to find a nice spot and crash it. Bang! Whoa! I don't know what just happened there, but holy sweet Jesus, niblets. Is it bouncing? It's taking damage, but blocks seem to be bouncing. I'm actually passing through a large percentage of everything, like the floor and stuff. Is that a bug? It took damage on the rear wing, if you notice, but it didn't take damage in other places. Let's just try and drop it down on the ice over here. So let's just slam it down. So thrusters all on and slam. Okay, there we go. Well, we crashed into the floor, we buried the cockpit, and it's currently spazzing, and I think they may have broken some of the hitboxes with stuff, because you can't hurt anyone no more. You can't hurt anyone no more. Shh, 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 shh. And we're just gonna walk away. So, as buggy that crash was, that's all. That is the ship. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Go and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description below. If you've enjoyed the video, leave it a like. As always, if you guys wouldn't mind helping me out, go and find the little bell icon on the channel and subscribe to make sure it comes upon your feed when new videos are released. That would be brilliant. If you've disliked this video, you know where the freaking button is, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!